Chapter 9, Lord Chaitanya's travels to the holy places. And we will begin with verse 83. And I'll read a few verses, just a few verses. Nijagare lana kaila pada prakshalana se jala lana kaila savam she bakshana. Sri Venkata Bhatta took Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home. After he washed the Lord's feet, all the members of his family drank the water. Bhiksha Karana Kichu Kaila Nivedana Chatamasya Asi Prabhu Haila Upasana. After offering lunch to the Lord, Venkata Bhatta submitted that the period of Chatamasya had already arrived. Chatamasya Kripakare Rahamoragare Krishna Kata Kahi Kripai Udara Amare. Venkata Bhatta said, "Please be merciful to me and stay at my house during Chatumasya. Speak about Lord Krishna's pastimes and kindly deliver me by your mercy." Okay, I'll read one more verse. Tanragare Rahila Prabhu Krishna Kata Rase Bhatta Sange Gonaila Sukhe Chari Mase. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained at the house of Venkata Bhatta for 4 continuous months. The Lord passed his days in great happiness, enjoying the transcendental mellow of discussing Lord Krishna's pastimes. Okay, let's just explain about that. It's very interesting. Nama Om Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhattade Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tidamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pachare Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Bhasvitari Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchikapatruvyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Just one question. Can you hear me okay? At the back there, Lokanath Prabhu. You can hear okay? Should it be louder? It should be louder. Can we do that? Krishna Balaram Prabhu. Can you increase the volume, please, for the people at the back at least?
Oh, yeah.
Is it cable?
No, it's wireless.
Let's keep on his phone. Is this on the speaker? Oh.
Well,
There's a speaker at the back as well.
huh?
There's a speaker at the back as well.
I'll move it to the middle rather because
Maybe, yeah.
Lokanath Prabhu is hard of hearing. Is that the excuse? Okay, well that's a bit louder, isn't it? I see. Yes, okay. So, devotees and friends, Hare Krishna. And it's very nice. It's a very auspicious day, of course, mainly because the Randburg Namahata is reopening. Am I right?
Yeah, relaunching.
Relaunching not after COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, after COVID. Right. Okay. Very good. And the programs will be continuing what, monthly or?
Yeah, last Friday of the month.
Last Friday of the month. Great. And so here, this is Lord Caitanya touring South India. And it's alive.
Someone's phone.
No, it's just
Oh, it's
connecting.
the phone.
It's connecting.
Oh, I think you linked up the other. Syncing the other.
Okay, so Lord Caitanya toured South India. And it's a long story, but and he was touring for several years. I forget exactly the number of years, but it was several years or something along those lines. Maybe it was 8 years. Just wandering all around South India. And South India is quite a place, I'm sure some of you have been there. There's all these big temples. Big temples, old temples, which you don't get in North India so much. In fact, you don't really get them at all in North India. And it's very sort of cultural. And one interesting little point I noticed is that there's not so many people, and the roads are not as crazy wild as they are in North India. If you've had much experience, close your eyes and pray to God. Yeah, it's more cultured in a number of ways. So, but anyway, Lord Caitanya went there for several or so years, moving around. And one year, well, each year at least, each year during the Chaturmasya season or period, he would stay. It's the rainy season traditionally, and he would stop traveling around, and he'd stay with some devotee family for the 4 months. Chaturmasya means 4 months. So he'd stay with them for 4 months because it was the rainy season and there's no transport. He and all the other sadhus and saintly people traveling around, they just walk. And, rainy season, you get, at least traditionally, you get a whole year's rain in like 3 or 4 months. So it really does rain, actually. And sometimes it just rains the whole day, just non-stop. Anyway, so this year that we're reading about here, this year, Lord Caitanya went to a place, very, very sacred place, and really very beautiful and very impressive place called Sri Rangam or Rangakshetra. And it's a temple town. The town is based around the temple, and in fact, in those days at least, the town was within the walls of the temple. Yeah, it's sort of spread out further, but that's how it used to work. So Lord Caitanya went there, and Sri Rangam is the biggest temple in India. I mean, at least in terms of the whole complex, because all these walls, I forget how many walls there are, but there's several walls around the temple. And over the gates, the doorways, there are these big, what they call gopurams, these big South Indian doorway type things, which are very, very impressive and very grand. So he went there, and he happened to meet this devotee, Venkata Bhatta. Venkata Bhatta was one of the pujaris in the temple, in the Sri Rangam temple. And in fact, interesting little point, his descendants are still pujaris in the Sri Rangam temple. In fact, they're pujaris in the Lakshmi temple, because it's a different tradition from ours, what we call the Sri Sampradaya from Lakshmi. We're part of the Brahma Sampradaya from Lord Brahma. So they have different practices, and one of their practices is that they have, like in the Sri Rangam temple, they have this big deity of Narayan lying down. Have you been there? You haven't? Anyway, lying down. And it's kind of funny setup. The doorway, the entranceway for having darshan, like you're in the temple area, and then on that side of the doorway is the deity. So the deity, the doorway is so small that to see the deity, you have to lean forward, look to the right to see his lotus feet, and look to the left to see his face. No kidding, that's what you have to do. Yeah. But he's a very beautiful deity. He is really amazing deity. Really amazing deity. So Lord Caitanya, well, that family, they're still there. And they know that Lord Caitanya came and stayed with their ancestors a few hundred years ago. They know that very well. And they know that a number of their family members converted from being Sri Vaishnavas to being basically followers of Lord Caitanya, Gaudiya Vaishnavas. But they're really nice people. They are really such nice people. And across the road from their house is a temple which they constructed, which has in it the deity, Jagannath deities, they say, carved by Lord Caitanya himself while he was staying there. Anyway, they say that, but they don't look like Jagannath deities. Have any of you been there? Have you been there? You remember those deities? They look just kind of, I don't know what to say, unusual at least. They look quite unusual, but they really don't look like Jagannath deities. Right. So anyway, here, this particular incident here, Lord Caitanya has just arrived, and Venkata Bhatta is, like I said, he's one of the pujaris, senior pujari in the Lakshmi temple. In their tradition, Lakshmi and Narayan, or the Lord and his consort, like Krishna and Radha, they're not in the same temple. They're in different buildings. And in this case, this is a big temple. And so Lakshmi's way around about a good few hundred meters away in another temple, nice temple. And, those people know us, and it's really nice when I've been there, particularly last time I was there was about just shortly before COVID. And when we went to the Lakshmi temple, there's a queue. They just pulled us through the queue and just took us right up to the front and did a whole thing with us. Were you with us that year? About 5 years ago or so, all around South India. Huh? Okay. All right, anyway, so Lord Caitanya met this Venkata Bhatta, and as we just read, Venkata Bhatta invited him, please come and stay at our house for Chatamasya, means 4 months. So Lord Caitanya did. And, that there's a whole discussion between Venkata Bhatta, Lord Caitanya and Venkata Bhatta, in which Lord Caitanya convinces Venkata Bhatta that you should not worship, you should not focus on, shall we say, Lakshmi Narayan, but you should focus on Radha and Krishna. So what happens is that Lord Chaitanya is staying with them, and they're having many discussions every day for 4 months, and he's taking prasadam there. They're really looking after him. And actually the son of Venkata Bhatta, his name is Gopal, and he becomes Gopal Bhatta Goswami of the 6 Goswamis. Yes. So anyway, Lord Chaitanya could see this devotee, Venkata Bhatta, he's very sincere, very genuine devotee, and he's very dedicated to the worship of Lakshmi Narayan. But Lord Chaitanya was thinking that the worship of Lakshmi Narayan, of course, it's very nice. I mean, this is not some like you're doing something wrong or something negative at all, but it's just not the highest level of worship, and Lakshmi Narayan, they're not the highest deities, but actually Radha and Krishna are. So Lord Chaitanya was looking for an opportunity to speak to Venkata Bhatta and somehow or other convince him that actually you should become a devotee of Radha and Krishna. So he's looking for the opportunity, suitable opportunity to bring the subject up and, just really get into it. So one day the opportunity arose, and the discussion is recorded here in Caitanya Charitamrita. So the opportunity arose, and Lord Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya, he is a very, what would you say, I mean, he's highly intelligent, and you could even say he's very crafty. He's very crafty in the way he presents Krishna consciousness. So this time, Lord Chaitanya was very crafty, and what he did, he started a discussion about Lakshmi Narayan and Radha and Krishna, and what's the relationship, that sort of discussion. But he started it by asking a couple of questions, few questions, as if he didn't understand what's going on. And can you help me, please, to understand this, because I just don't get it. So he asked Venkata Bhatta that, you worship Lakshmi and Narayan. Yes, we do. But, can you please explain to me that in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is this pastime in which Lakshmi leaves Lord Narayan because she wants to go to Vrindavan and take part in the rasa dance with Lord Krishna. Can you please explain? Because Lord Chaitanya explains, she is the ideal chaste wife. She will not even, glance or look in the direction at all of any other man. What to speak of leave her husband to associate with another man. So, but what's going on here? She left her husband because she wanted to join Lord Krishna in the rasa dance and dance with him. What is the situation? And Venkata Bhatta, he gets a little taken aback. Hadn't thought of that one type of thing. But then he thought of something. Venkata Bhatta said, well, Krishna is not different from Narayan. In fact, he is a Leela expansion of Narayan, which is a way of, Leela, okay. He has Leelas, colorful Leelas, but he's an expansion, means he's lesser. He's beneath Lord Narayan. So he said like that, that, there's no real difference between Krishna and Lord Narayan. Krishna's a playful expansion of Narayan. And any faithful wife will want to associate with her husband in all different aspects of his life and what he does and where he goes and like that. Like when he's doing business, when he's going sporting or going on holiday or something, the wife will go with him. So there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with Lakshmi leaving her husband Narayan and then going to associate with Lord Krishna because, they're the same, more or less, kind of, approximately. And Lord Chaitanya said, wow, thank you so much. What a wonderful explanation. And Lord Chaitanya said, but I have another problem though. She went to join Lord Krishna in the rasa dance, but she was not able to enter the rasa dance. They wouldn't let her. So what is this? What is this? And in fact, just as a point of interest, she descended in Vrindavan, because that's where the rasa dance takes place, and she descended in a particular place in Vrindavan, which is called, it has a name. What's the name?
It's not in Bandirvan? No.
No, Bandirvan. It's next to Bandirvan. What's the one next to Bandirvan? Anyway, it's the one next to Bandirvan. She was, I used to know these things. Do you remember? Anyway, it's next to Bandirvan. Oh, Bailvan.
Yes,
Bailvan. Right. So she descended there. And so now, today, there's a temple there. I mean, there's been a temple there for many years. Now there's a beautiful temple there. Really nice temple. And the main deity is Lakshmi, Mahalakshmi. And what happened was that she came down and she wanted to join the Rasadans. That was the whole idea. But she was not willing to give up her very opulent and sort of grandiose position and like appearance and way of conducting herself as Lakshmi Devi. She was not willing to give that up and become a little gopi, little cowherd girl in Vrindavan. So, you know what, devotees? She's still there in Bailvan doing austerities to join the Rasadans. Talk about determination. 5,000 years. And she's still doing it. But the problem is, so Lord Caitanya asked Venkata Bhatta, what is this? Why? She's Lakshmi. She's such an important, prominent, famous person. But she couldn't enter the Rasadans. How could it be? How could it possibly be? And Venkata Bhatta, he was stumped. He couldn't answer that. And so he said to Lord Caitanya, actually, you know, I think you're the only one who understands that. So maybe you could just explain it to me. Yeah. So he's beginning to get the idea that Krishna is superior, so to speak, to Lord Narayan. So Lord Chaitanya explains, really very, very nice. Lord Chaitanya explained that in order for Lakshmi Devi to enter the rasa dance, she couldn't just arrive and say, you know, Hari Bol, here I am. When's the dance starting? Where should I go? No. She would have to go through a training program to learn how to be a humble little bridge bussy gopi girl. Yeah. She would have to go through a program of training how to make cow dung patties. I don't know if any of you were brought up on farms, if you ever learned how to make cow dung patties. It's a science. You've got to get them right. So she was going to have to do that and give up her position as, you know, this sitting on a great throne and with extremely valuable clothes and loads of extremely valuable jewelry. Just really, I mean, sure, really some pretty dramatic presence. She wouldn't do it. She wouldn't do it. She was offered the opportunity that we'll train you up, but you'll have to give up all this and just accept, you know, the gopis in Vrindavan, the gopi girls, you know, they don't wear saris. When the ladies are married, then they wear saris. And they wear saris at least the more senior ones, they wear saris and they pull, the bit which they normally put across their shoulder to keep their shoulder warm. I'm being sarcastic. Sorry. But the part which goes over your head, that part, yeah, they pull it over their faces, right down over their chins. And somehow they manage to move around and not bump into things and hurt themselves. But it's really interesting. So that the young girls, the young gopis, the young cowherd girls, they just wear a skirt and a top piece and a veil, just cloth over their head. That's what they wear. So they told Lakshmi, this is what you'll have to do. And they even presented to her some sort of skirt and top piece and veil. But Lakshmi thought, come on. I am Lakshmi Devi. I mean, seriously, you don't expect me to wear that. And they said, well, seriously, we do actually. And then we're going to take you and train you up in making cow dung patties. Yeah. And she heard that and she thought, this is not me. I am Lakshmi. I've come to take part in the dance, not to make cow dung patties. So Lord Caitanya is explaining all of this to Venkata Bhatta, because Venkata Bhatta knows the Bhagavatam, and he knows that Lakshmi was not able to enter the rasa dance. Yeah. But he never understood why, what the situation really was, till Lord Caitanya explained it, which, it's in the next so many pages. I mean, it's like the whole chapter, really. So Lord Caitanya said that if you want to enter Vrindavan, she wanted to enter Vrindavan, but you can only enter Vrindavan by following the residents of Vrindavan. It's the only way to enter Vrindavan. You cannot just arrive on your own terms and just expect to be able to come in and be accepted as a Brijbasi, a member of the Brijbasi community. So therefore she wasn't able. And so Lord Caitanya emphasized that you have to follow in the footsteps of the Brijbasis, the residents of Vrindavan. Otherwise, you cannot enter the pastimes. And just see, Lakshmi couldn't. And this was now 500 years ago or thereabouts. And Lord Caitanya told Venkata Bhatta, she's already been trying for 4,500 years. I mean, you must give it 11 out of 10 for determination. Gee whiz. Yeah. And so then Venkata Bhatta, when he heard all these explanations, he was just completely dumbstruck. He just couldn't believe it. He'd never heard such understandings before, but he understood that it was correct. And so he surrendered to Lord Caitanya, and he became a Gaudiya Vaishnava. And we asked, because the family I mentioned, they know all about this. But they are Sri Vaishnavas. Yes. So at some point afterwards, the family sort of came back to their old ways. there was Venkata Bhatta became a Gaudiya Vaishnava. His brother, Prabodhananda Saraswati, became a Gaudiya Vaishnava. And Venkata's son, Gopal, what to speak of becoming a Gaudiya Vaishnava, he became one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So, really got into it completely, to put it mildly. But at some point, they sort of, the family turned around. There must have been a lot of social pressure, because they'd been doing that worship possibly for thousands of years, surely for hundreds of years. And they were like really prominent, established people in the Sri Rangam community. And for them to give up the traditional way and take up some other way, it would be not socially acceptable at all. So anyway, we don't know when it happened, but they came back to being Sri Vaishnavas. And they're really nice. The father, I forget his name, but anyway, the father is really nice. Wow. And he's really big. I mean, if you take like the 3 biggest of our men here and put them together, he's like that. And he's really big. And the first time I went there was 1970, maybe later 80s, something like that, yeah. And we went in there and we met the one member of the family. His name is Prakash, and he's one of the sons, and he's Pujari there. And we were talking about their practices. And he told me, I had heard that the members of that community, the like very strict Sri Vaishnavas, they're not allowed to cross the ocean. Yeah. So he told me that one of his brothers went to America and got into IT, would you believe? And they wouldn't let him come back. I mean, they wouldn't let him come back to be a pujari because he crossed the ocean. And then you're contaminated. You cross the ocean. Yeah, serious. Aparad. So just see. Lord Caitanya was there for 4 months. And after some time, he had this exchange with Venkata Bhatta and convinced him that actually Krishna is higher than Narayan, because Lakshmi was not able to enter the association of Krishna. She couldn't do it. She got rejected, you could say. And she's still trying, she's doing austerities. But one of the things Lord Caitanya also explained to Venkata Bhatta is doing austerities is not the way to be accepted by Lord Krishna as one of his associates. Particularly in this case, you have to follow the Brijvasis, and Lakshmi would have had to go through a process of training. But still, Lakshmi insisted on just continuing with her austerities. I don't know what austerities. I can tell you another 2 little stories related. One's related in the sense that it's about determination, dedication, and not letting a challenge be too much for you. When Krishna left Vrindavan, I'm sure Many of you have heard this story, but anyway, when Krishna left Vrindavan, the day before he left, he went and visited many of the devotees around Brajmandal to say goodbye and to say that he's leaving, but he'll be back shortly. So he went to Bandiravan. And there he met Sri Dam, who is the brother of Srimati Radharani. He happened to be there in Bandiravan, in the forest there. And actually the forest is pretty much still there. It's actually quite a beautiful place. So he met Sri Dam. And he said, Sri Dam, you know, I'm going to Mathura tomorrow. And yeah, I'm leaving. I'm going to Mathura. But don't worry, I'll be back the next day. Well, actually he said, I'm going today, but I'll be back tomorrow. And Sri Dam said, really? I've got this feeling you're not coming back. And Krishna said, no. I'll come back tomorrow. If not tomorrow, at least the day after. And Sri Dam said, well, I've just got this feeling. I don't think you're coming back. And Lord Krishna said, no. If not the day after tomorrow, the day after that for sure. And Sri Dam, but still he was doubtful, I just have this feeling you're not coming back. And Lord Krishna said, all right, I tell you what, just wait here. I mean, here, as in X marks the spot. And you'll see, I'll be back. So Sri Ram said, right, I will wait right here, and I will actually not move until you come back. And Krishna said, fine, no problem. So Krishna went. Next day he didn't come back. Day after he didn't come back. And on the third day he didn't come back. But Sri Ram was so determined, devotees, he had not moved. He was still standing right on the same spot. And his parents had come and told him, listen, you got to come home. You can't just stay here. And Sri Ram said, no. I told Krishna I'm staying here till he comes back. And he said, right. So I'm staying here. So a week passed. Then 2 weeks. And then a month passed. And Krishna had not returned. And Sri Ram was still standing right on that spot. And then 3 months. And then 6 months passed. And Krishna had not returned. And Sri Ram was still standing on that spot. Then, what did I say? 6 months, a year, 3 years, 5 years. Krishna has not returned. Sri Ram is still standing on that very spot. Then 10 years. Then 50 years. And Krishna has not returned. And Sri Ram is still standing on that spot. Finally, devotees, 4,500 years later, Krishna came back as Lord Caitanya. And Sri Ram had turned into a deity who is still there, they say. And Krishna came and embraced the deity. And he told Sri Ram, see, I told you I'd come back. This is determination. This is superhuman determination. I know this is even beyond superhuman. It's just in another dimension altogether. So we, us humble little devotees, lowly little devotees, we should try not just we should try, but we must do our best to cultivate determination. Because Krishna is watching us. And Krishna is, as he's watching us, he's thinking, what's the situation of this devotee? What are the shortcomings of this devotee? What lessons does this devotee have to learn? And then Krishna is making these strategic, transcendental arrangements so different situations crop up in our lives, which, sometimes they're just fun and they're just nice, but other times they're tests and there's some actual difficulty for you. But if you stick at it, by Krishna's grace, you'll come through successfully. Because Krishna does not make a test. One of my godbrothers, the late Tribhuvanath Prabhu, he asked Prabhupada, will Krishna ever give a devotee a test which the devotee will just not be able to pass, and therefore the devotee will fail the test? And Prabhupada said, no, Krishna will never do that. So, right, the bottom line on that is that whatever test you face, if you really stick at it and take shelter of the Lord and the spiritual master and the devotees and the chanting and like that, you'll come through successfully. You will. You will. So, and the example is Sridham. Yeah. So, and the last, I didn't bring my watch. What's the time?
17 minutes past 8.
Okay. So I'll tell you just one more little story, which many of you have heard before, maybe all of you, but I really like it. The event happened also when Lord Caitanya was staying with Venkata, Bhatta and family in Sri Rangam. So Lord Caitanya, every day, he's staying there for 4 months, and every day he'd go and have darshan of Ranganath, the deity, lying down, this big deity, at least 2 or maybe a little bit more meters long. So every day he'd go a few times. Morning, middle of the day, afternoon, evening, that sort of thing he'd do. And he noticed every day, sitting on one side in the area, because there's a big halls, just a big open, covered, it's got a roof, but it's got no walls, type of thing before you actually enter the temple room. So Lord Chaitanya noticed on the one side was one devotee. Every single time, every single day, the devotee was sitting there with a book, and he's just looking at the book very intently, and he's there every day. And Lord Chaitanya thought, wow, he's really into it, whatever it is. But then Lord Chaitanya noticed a strange thing. Sometimes some local devotee would go to where the devotee with the book was and start speaking to him. But then Lord Chaitanya noticed that devotee who went over to speak to him, he would then sort of laugh at him, like he's mocking him, like he's doing something stupid. The devotee sitting with the book, doing something stupid. But then other times, Lord Chaitanya saw that the devotee That normally works.
It died.
Anyway, maybe Krishna wants me to tell it next time. So let me just raise my voice a bit. Lokanath Prabhu, can you hear me? Okay. So Lord Chaitanya, sometimes he'd be looking at that devotee who's with the book, and he'd see that devotee has tears of ecstasy coming from his eyes. So Lord Chaitanya could not understand what is going on. So one day he went to speak to the devotee and he asked, "What are you doing?" And the devotee told him that, you know what? My guru ordered me, every day I must read Bhagavad Gita. So here I am, every day, all day, with my Bhagavad Gita. Here I am. And Lord Chaitanya said, oh, that's very nice. Well, why is it that some of the other devotees come by and they sort of mock you like you're doing something stupid? And the devotee said, you know, the thing is this. They know I am illiterate. I cannot read or write anything at all. So they like to just joke with me. So they come over and they say, oh, Panditji, what verse are you reading? And I don't know. And they laugh at me. And Lord Chaitanya said, okay. Then Lord Chaitanya said, well, why is it then that sometimes I see you there with your Bhagavad Gita and I can see there tears of ecstasy coming from your eyes? Please explain. So the devotee said, you know, from time to time, I look at the cover of the Bhagavad Gita. Anyway, you know the cover of the Bhagavad Gita. There is Arjuna's on the chariot, Lord Krishna is driving the chariot. And I look at this picture and I see, there's Lord Krishna, he is the Supreme Lord. And he is driving the chariot for his devotee. And that being a chariot driver, it's like a working class person's job. It is not some high position at all. It's a sutra job, actually. That's what it is. But Lord Krishna, he is God. But he's so kind to his devotee that he takes the position even of a sutra just to serve his devotee. And I look at this and I think how merciful Lord Chaitanya is to his devotee. And I just can't help myself. I just cry. I just become overwhelmed. And I cry. And Lord Chaitanya said to that devotee, Lord Chaitanya said, you know what? You may not have read Bhagavad Gita, but you have understood Bhagavad Gita. And Lord Chaitanya said, actually, you are the authority on Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. So that also happened in Sri Lanka at that time. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki Jai. Go Premanande. So devotees, I officially declare the Randburg Namahata open. Yes, so what's our program?
You can have some. Firstly, is there Any questions for Maharaj?
Questions, comments?
So Maharaj, there are a few people who this, the subject matter would have been a little bit too much for them.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the good news is that there are courses that are coming about.
There are courses coming about.
Yeah. One course is the Science of Self-Realization.
Oh yes.
So that'll be a good one for those who like to get to know more information to register for it.
Why don't you use this?
Yes, anyway, I'm saying if you are interested, there is courses available. There is Science of Self-Realization. And also the Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, the founder of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, there's a biography that is done on him. There is also a course that's going to be held on him as well. So if you really want to get to know Srila Prabhupada and his mood, this is a good opportunity to connect with that course. But now, if you don't mind, we can have some kirtan.
Yes. Let's have some kirtan. Hare Krishna. So if any of you got lost, I'm sorry. We have a lost and found department. That was the lost and found. Stick with it. It's okay. I mean, there's always a few complicated things in anything, but Krishna consciousness is really so wonderful. Even if it's a little difficult to follow sometimes, we should stick with it and things will become clear in due course. So, okay, devotees, we'll have a little kirtan.